All right, Liquid Petroleum Gas Board, Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board, Administrative Code, Chapter 530X2, Rules and Regulation of the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board, Table of Contents. 5X201, purpose of 5X202, the definition, 5X203, metering device, calibration requirements, 5X204, procedure of the liquefied petroleum gas filling stations. 530X205, reporting incident vehicle accident with complaints. 530X06, storage handling of the liquefied petroleum gas codes. 530X207, liquefied petroleum gas motor fuel carburation equipment. 530X208, liquefied petroleum gas piping and compliance codes. 530X209, inspection underground and 200 type liquid petroleum gas storage containers. 530X210, time and limits for the submitting and completing the liquid petroleum gas permit applications. 530X211, the employee competency requirement. 530X212, the class of the permitting, Class A permit application specific requirements. Class F30X213, permit applications repealed. 530X214, liquid petroleum gas motor fuel flat rate fees. 530X215, qualification person performing work on liquid petroleum gas systems. 530X216, liquid petroleum gas container replacement, removal, or repair. 530X217, liquid petroleum gas fee rate. 530X218, reciprocity with Alabama Plumbers and Gas Fitting Examining Board. Alright, 530X201. Purpose of the board shall have the power to make for the enforced rules, regulations governing the design, construction, location, installation, operation of the container, of the tanking system, and equipment for the surrounding, the utilizing, handling of the transporting liquid petroleum gas for the rule of the security of the substantial accuracy of the all meters, safety of the device, regulatory generally for the connection with the such gas of said rules and regulations shall be served for the reasonable and necessary for the protection of the health and safety of the public person using such gases with the top only after the public hearing thereon. All rules and regulations shall be posted on the board's website, available for the download of the public. The board will provide with upon request of the printed copy of the rules, regulation to any lacking resources action for the board website. With any time that the rules, regulation are altered in any way, the revision shall be posted on the website within 30 days. All liquefied petroleum gas permit holders shall be notified in writing of the review of the regulations online with said revisions. The board may adopt its own rules and publish regulation for the National Fire Protection Association and any other nationally recognized agency covering the same subject with the reference thereto. All of the rules regulations adopted by the board shall become an effective 30 days after the adoption thereof. The Acts 1965, number 220, with the page 305, statute 5. 530X02, definition. Use of these regulations of the following words and phrases shall have the following meaning with respectively and clearly context clearly indicate with the otherwise authority have the jurisdiction Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board, the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board, branch the local union of the liquid petroleum gas business is one or more of the following of the division, subdivision of the person doing the business under the name of the other Class A permit, hold the names of the place for the day-to-day retail operation of the liquid petroleum gas business for the conducted at which the least of the three of the following activities occur with the condition exists: sales of the appliance, orders for the taking of the liquid petroleum gas, repairs for the order for the taking and refill of the liquid petroleum gas systems, either by phone or in person with the employee of the president during the normal day, work day, or place that requires a city or council license to conduct with the business. 4, liquid petroleum gas, LP, liquid petroleum gas, LPG, liquid petroleum gas, LP gas, liquid petroleum gas, and liquefied petroleum gas, any material have with the vapor pressure for the sea with not line with commercial propane composed predominantly with the following hydrocarbons, either by themselves with a mixture of propane, ethanol, butane, normal butane, isobutane, and all of the liquid petroleum gas with the recovery foam with the gas for the surety for the foam with the designated with the insurer, complying with the liquid petroleum gas law, with the rules regulations up with the liquid petroleum gas board, liquid petroleum gas research education fund with the fund created with the finance and activity relating to the research, the development, and implementation, marketing, and advertising, informational programs related with liquid petroleum gas directed toward the consumer as well for the education for the industrial members of the employee with the 10 liquid petroleum gas system assembly with the consisting of more of the container that means for the conveying of the liquid petroleum gas container with the dispense for the consuming the device either the continuously intermittently with the incorporated with the comments intended to achieve the control of the quality flow of the pressure and state either liquid or vapor the person either natural person firm with the core operation co-partnership association corporation. Red tag, a red card, a device containing an official printed notice for the condemnation of the liquid petroleum gas system, and then you can give the disconnected liquid petroleum gas content, component liquid petroleum gas storage containing the liquid petroleum gas container prudency of the liquid petroleum gas motor vehicle, the transport, deliver the units, place, resolve of the violation of liquid petroleum gas safety code provision regulations as soon as the result of the mechanical defect found in the liquid petroleum gas motor vehicle, transport, or delivery unit that could cause the injury to the public if allowed and to continue to operate when attached to the system with the aim for the next and discounted technical liquid petroleum gas component. Liquid petroleum gas storage container with the liquid petroleum gas print with the motor vehicle with the transport with the delivery unit with a red tag with the position with the notice of the condemnation with the prohibition of the further use as long as the red tag remains affixed by the law. 530X203 metering device calibration requirements before any person, the firm, and the corporation shall be engaged with the continuing with the business system with the dispensing liquid petroleum gas above the tank through with the truck through the liquid measurement. They should be required with the furnish a suitable type of material meter equipped automatic temperature compensator with the adjustable indication registration of the measured volume of the product with the volume at lift 15 degrees or 60 degrees Fahrenheit for the dispensing of liquid petroleum gas heading with the calibration of the meter with the furnish of the board written clear certification substantial accuracy with the said meter with the meter shall be calibrated with the complying with the National Institute of the Chain of Technology Handbook 44 2016 section 33032. This certification is provided with the annually with the board will be notified with the annual with the person, firm, and the corporation 60 of the day in advance with the due with the certification report with the person, firm, and the corporation should be given the name of the agencies approved by this board who certified substantial accuracy with the said meters in the system. The liquid petroleum gas installed with the stationary filling station should be due for the purpose of metering of liquid petroleum gas sales shall be calibrated and compliant with the National Institute Standard for the Technology NSIST Handbook 44 2016 section 332. Calibration should be required at an interval for each of the 200,000 gallons for every 5 years, whichever comes further. The certifying agent shall seal the meter with the automatic temperature compensator with the wear installed with a temporary evidence seal. For if any of the reason meter seal is broken, the dealer owner shall notify his metering certifying agent. Then notify the liquid petroleum gas if the meter of the certifying agent will be able to reseal the meter. The dealer owner shall make the notification as soon as possible, not exceeding 5 of the working days if the broken meter seal has been found. Certifying agent shall recalibrate reseal of the meter if the recalibration is required with the reseal of the meter. If the calibration is not required with the corrective action, if the complete with the meter provider shall be notified with the liquid petroleum gas board in writing of the action of the taking the bringing of the meter into the compliance with the state regulation. Effective meter equipment should be brought into compliance within 30 days after the board has been notified of the broken seal. If the meter has not been resealed within 30 days after the broken board received the first notification of the broken meter seal of the board administration for determine if the proper action has taken the reseal of the meter. If the proper action has been taken, board administrator may then authorize a limited extension of the time to reseal of the meter. 5. The expense of said services shall be borne by the person, firms, or corporations affected by this rule. Section 530X04, 530X204. Procedure for the liquid petroleum gas filling station. Dot cylinders with a water capacity less than 250 pounds should be charged with a cylinder filling with land time from the mobile unit specially designed with equipped for the cylinder filling as specified in this regulation. 8. All dot cylinders less than 250 water pound with the capacity should be discharged with the weight only with the except for the cylinders into the width of the dispensed fuel for the motor fuel purpose of the use on with the premise of the not transporting with the commerce as defined with the Code Federal Regulation Title 49. All retail premises of the cylinder filling station for the shall be playing with the markers for all with the name of the liquid petroleum gas station or the board of license permit number, emergency telephone number. C. It should be responsible for the permit holder for the ensure that the only trained qualified personnel filled with the liquid petroleum gas cylinder for the container of the personnel filling with the cylinder shall deny service to any of the customers refusing lacking with the means for the transport of the cylinders in accordance with liquid petroleum gas codes adopted by the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. And D. All liquid petroleum gas motor fuel filling stations shall have the sign displayed with legible in plain view of the general public. The sign shall read with all motor vehicles licensed with the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas motor fuels are required to apply law of the display with the current liquid petroleum gas motor fuel. The decal purchased through the Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. Purchase for the decals covered the Alabama the motor fuel tax for the year of the insurance issuance, the operation of the liquid petroleum gas powered vehicle license, and the Alabama with the power of the public roads and highways for the Alabama without required decal constitutes a Class B misdemeanor. Code of Alabama 1975 Section 40 17 161. E. Mobile units specially designed for the cylinder filling must be equipped with a valve. The one mobile units must be equipped with a single delivery hose not exceeding 25 feet in length. The tube must not be an excessive flow valve installed into the delivery hose to the pipe with a connection with a flow rate not exceeding 25 gallons per minute. For the filling of the other motor fuel cylinders properly function scales must present for use. All electrical wiring components must comply with the National Fire Protection Association Code 70, the Electric Code of the Federal Regulation Title 49, whichever is applicable. 5 points for the transfer must be in compliance with the addition of the National Fire Protection Agency for the 58 liquid petroleum gas currently adopted by the board. 530X2, 05, the reporting incident vehicle accident is complained with the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board permits the holders of the directive required for the report of the board to follow the fire's explosion and the structure of the equipment with the liquid petroleum gas system operational. At the time of the incident involved with the uncontrollable release of the liquid petroleum gas must be reported with the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board upon the discovery of the permit holder of the shall report of the incident by the telephone communication followed by written communication on the form of the provided with the board. All information requested must be provided with an order of the administrator of the board may determine if the further investigation is warranted if the incident of the scene shall not be disturbed and by the permit holder except as with the directive of the emergency law enforcement response at the scene of the representative of the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. B. Vehicle accident involved with the liquid petroleum gas cargo tank with the vehicles must be reported with the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. Such for the accident shall be reported soon with the possible with the telephone with the communication file with the written communication with the form of the provided with the board. All information requested must be provided with the assist of the administrator of the board with the determining the necessary action of the complaints of the defect of the installation of the other problems with the customer liquid petroleum gas system, which permit holder cannot correct with the result that must be reported to the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. In addition to the board reporting with the requirements, the permit holder must also provide the effect of the customer with the necessary board form to file with the complaint with the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. 2. The complaints must be filed within the form provided with the board. Anonymous complaints will not be accepted with the investigative. The complaints related to the following, which will not be investigated as they are outside of the jurisdictional authority or of the board. Liquid petroleum gas price for the contract disputes. 3. Billing disputes. D. Refusal of service delivery and customer enrollment with liquid petroleum gas companies. And E. Alleged installation code violations that no longer exist. 530X206 for the storage, air, and handling with the petroleum gas codes. The publication takes the name of the National Fire Protection Association 58 and published for the National Fire Protection Association be adopted with the rules regulation with the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board provided with the existing rules of the board with the conflict with the National Fire Protection Association 58 shall not be repealed by the adoption of this rule. Any of the supplementary rules regulation for the National Fire Protection Code 58 with the adopted of the National Fire Protection Association some future date may also be adopted by the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board private the enforcement in Alabama the National Fire Protection Association 58 2020 edition is entirety is the current edition but adopted by the board with the following sections amended to the read 330.12 of the cargo tank with the container with the issue with the transport liquid petroleum gas liquid cargo with the either the mounted on the conventional truck with the chassis with the integral part of the cargo transportation vehicle. The cargo tank shall not be used with the permanent with the stationary storage in containers. Cylinder container design and constructed with the tested with the market in accordance with the U.S. Department of Transportation specification Title 49 Code of Federal Regulations in accordance with the valid special permit. 33484 liquid petroleum gas any material with a head with the vapor pressure not exceeding without allowed for the commercial propane with this compared with the predominantly of the following hydrocarbons either themselves as of the mixture of the propane, propane, ethanol, butane, normal butane, or isobutane or butanolenes. Through 4331, notification of the intent with the transfer of the liquid petroleum gas direct with the rail car to the cargo tank shall be submitted to the authority having the jurisdiction before any of the transfer of the authority having the jurisdiction shall have the authority to require the inspection of the site of the equipment for such transfer prior to any of the transfer of the horizontal distance between the portion of the building of the overhangs of the out of the building wall within the ASME contained with the 125 gallons or more water capacity shall comply with the following. Horizontal distance shall be measured from the point determined by the projection with the outside of the edge of the overhang with the structure of the vertically downward of the grade either of the upper level upon which the container is installed with the 2 of the horizontal distance specified within 6446. 1 shall be at least 50% of the separation from the distance required by the table 6411. 3. The horizontal distance requirement shall apply with only when the overhang that extends more than 5 feet from the building. 4. The horizontal distance requirement shall not apply with the overhang structure of 50 feet of the more above the relief valve of the discharge outlet. 5. The horizontal distance requirement shall not be applied with the ASME containers with the 2,001 gallons to the 30,000 gallon water capacity wherever the container's distance from the building is in accordance with the 632. 722 for the refusal of the fill of the container based on the projection of the criteria established for the code shall be deemed sufficient with the notification for the container owner or user that the container is not in compliance with the applicable codes. And 12.354 for the deleted for the authors and 530X207, the Liquid Petroleum Gas Motor Fuel Corporation, equipped by all of the component of the appearance of the soul of the supply of the liquid petroleum gas of the fuel of the internal of the combustion engine with the motor fuel container, withdrawal of the valve of the engine, intake with the manifold, which include the automatic shut-off valve with the supply piping, the regulation, vaporization, gas air mixing corporation, equipment shall be approved by the means of the labeling, listing of the recognized laboratory, or by the means of the acceptable of the authority having the jurisdiction of the same of the carburetor of the internal combustion engine may be used as an integral part of the liquid petroleum gas conversion system with the proper permit of the prescribed of the Act with number 220 regular session with the 1965 amendment with the Act with number 435 of the regular session with the 1979 shall be secured before with any of the person firm of the corporation shall engage with the business of installing, servicing, and repairing, adjusting any liquid petroleum gas carburation equipment that is used to supply the fuel to supply any of the internal combustion engines. Your permit shall not be required for the manufacturing internal combustion engine to install with approved liquid petroleum gas carburation equipment and or with the components of appearances as part of the internal combustion engine manufacturing process to provide with no liquid petroleum gas fuel supply shall be connected with this. The permit shall not be required for any of the person firm of the corporation with the business of repairing and or overhauling the internal combustion engine equipped with the liquid petroleum gas carburation components provided with the during the repair of the overall process without liquid petroleum gas fuel line with the fuel system shall be disconnected. This shall not relieve any of the person firm of the corporation from the responsibility of performing the proper leak check for the liquid petroleum gas carburation components that they might have been with the disturbed during the repair overall processes. 530X208 liquid petroleum gas piping complying with the code with the publications extended with the National Fire Protection Association 50 with the National Fire Protection Association being adopted as part of the rules regulation of the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board prior to time with the existing of the rules of the board with the conflict with the National Fire Protection Association 54 shall not be repealed with the adoption of this rule with this any of the supplementary rules of the regulation. National Fire Protection Association 54 adopted the National Fire Protection Association in some future date with the must also be adopted with the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board prior to the enforcement of the Alabama Liquid National Fire Protection Association 54 2021 edition and entirely with the current edition adopted the board with the sections 822.3 leak check and the 9122 existing compliant with the modified with the reads follows. 823 leak check. Immediately after the gas is turned on into the new system, into the system has again been initially restored after the interpretation of the strip of the complete gas piping system connected to the appliance and the equipment shall be checked for the leakage. Whenever the leakage is indicated, the gas supply shall be shut off until the necessary repairs have been made. 9122 existing appliance with deleted. 530X209 inspection underground and 200 type liquid petroleum gas storage containers. There are new liquid petroleum gas containers with a working pressure for the less than that required with the 200 type of the container that shall be installed with the state of Alabama. Non-used underground containers shall be installed with reinstalled within the state of Alabama except when the container has been duly inspected and approved by the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. 530X20, the time of limits to submitting the completing of liquid petroleum gas permit application filed with the application of the person firm of the corporation with engaged with liquid petroleum gas business with the state of the Alabama, the detail of the permits of the code of the Alabama 1975, signed 17105B. There shall be the lapse of the time deemed necessary by the board administrator but not exceed with the 30 days with the date with the receipt of the board administration over the application complete with all the respect with the date of the consideration of the application by the board in its next regularly scheduled meeting with the time lapse will be issued by the board administrator to determine the completeness of the application with the accuracy of the information submitted on the application. True, from time to time, the application is mailed the stamp the receipt of the board itself. The application will be given with a maximum of 180 days to comply with all the regulations for the consideration issuance of the permit. Otherwise, the application will become null or voided. Once the application is voided, the application must begin with the application process for the new, including for the new applicant fees for the 180-day rule shall not begin with the Class A permit application until their initial application is approved by the board. 530X211 employee competency for the requirement effective with the April 30, 2017 employees of the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Permit holders must successfully complete with the applicable written components needed with the examination or practice for the evaluation of the administrator of the board with in order to perform liquid petroleum gas job function regulated with the board of the state of Alabama. Successful completion of the written competency for the examination and or practical evaluation of the specific job function shall be communicated with endorsement credentials over the employee with the competency for the card issued by the board. Employee may perform the job function prior to acquiring with the endorsement and credentials if they actively supervise with the action supervision Of course, when supervisor is present during the performance of the job function, the active supervisor must have the completed the board performance to perform the particular job function. Two of the employees for the sake of the endorsement credentials for the specific job function must apply with the written competency for the examination with the practical evaluation form to provide with by the board written competency examination practical for the evaluation should be scheduled with the proctor by the board staff. With the employees may be to add endorsement credentials of their job function for the involved with the dictate. Both of the credentials must be acquired with the prior to performing the new job functions unsupervised. 3 is score with the 70% of the higher shall with constitute the successful completion of the written competency for the exam. Successful of the completion of the practical evaluation shall be determined by the board of an inspector performing for the said evaluation. Examining may be appeal with the fail of the practical evaluation of the board administrative of the board respectively. Endorsement credentials may be earned under this regulation are transferable with the change of the employment that provide with the new employment is within 3 years within the even the performance of the permitted by the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board to perform a said job function. The following employment separation and endorsement credentials not transferred within 3-year time of the period of the void with the month required. According with this regulation, transfer of the endorsement credentials must be accomplished with the issuance of the update of the employee competency with the card from the board. 5 employees must obtain with the endorsement credentials by the completing of the following requirements for the applicable the job with the function will perform the unsupervised with the requirements for each of the job functions shall be written with the competency for the exam and or practical evaluation. Endorsement credentials are only valid with the employment under the specific parameters as detailed below with the bobtail drive with the written exam A and B1 permits. Bulk plant installation repairs written examination AB1 and D permits. Cargo tank inspection with the practical evaluation AB1 and C2 permits. Cylinder motor fuel dispensing written examination practical evaluation AB1 F and F1 permits. Cylinder requalification practical evaluation AB1 and C2 permits. Legal compliance mandatory for all tests of the application written examination all permits. Engine fuel system written examination AB1 C1 permits. Meter calibration practical evaluation E permits and rail car loading unloading practical evaluation AB1 and B permits. Service technician recreational vehicles written examination AB1 C permits. Service technician residential and commercial written AB and B1 C permits. Tank installation removal inspection non-bulk plant written examination A and B1 permits. Transport driver written examination A and B1 and B permits for written and competency examination. Certain resource material that are allowed during the exam, however, the examine without the written resource of the material without otherwise attempting with the transcribe of the record. Any part of the written exam will be failed with the dismissed from the examination. The resource materials will be retained by the exam proctor as the evidence returned at the proper time. Those dismissed from the examination must wait 90 days to reply for the examinees dismissed from the examination with the refuse to yield resource materials in question shall not be eligible to reapply with the future examination of the following resources. Materials will be allowed during the examination, but they will not be supplied by the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board, National Fire Protection Association 58 Current Adopted Edition, 54 Current Adopted Edition, and National Fire Protection Association 1192 Current Adopted Edition, Code Federal Regulation Title 49, Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board Administrative Code, Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board Laws, written competency for the examination, regardless of the number of endorsement credentials sought, shall be limited to 4 hours per day with each of the examining. Endorsement credentials may be adopted if in stages is necessary for this administrative of the code is not retroactive. They shall not apply with the permanent holder for their employees that meet board requirements to work with the unsupervised prior to the adoption of this regulation. However, the employees change for the employment after the adoption of this code. Those who have failed to successfully complete with the prior board testing of the practical evaluation requirements must meet with the requirements for this regulation as the new employee in the industry. If any of the part of the regulations declared invalid or unconstitutional, so the declaration shall not in effect the part which remains. Alright, 530X212 with the Class A permit application specifically provided with the new Class A permit application for not holding another the Class A permit with the Alabama should not begin with any of the business activities until their permit is approved with the board with advisor and the written and the administrative of the business activities include, but are not limited to the advertising of the construction, sale, of the delivery of the new application shall appear before the board such time that the application for the signature of the person other than the person with the signature appear for the application may be required for the period before the board of the consideration of the application. All persons required for the period shall be expected to with explain in the support of their application with experience in any of the manner with which the members of the board deem relevant to carry out their responsibility to protect the health and safety of the public. And application and attachments of the board of the hearing shall attempt to resolve the question of the application qualification and for the retail liquid petroleum gas business for the fact that it be considered for the prerequisite requirements are as follows. Applicant experience with the knowledge of the liquid petroleum gas engine for the owner and applicant with the design and employee representative that must have the previous retail experience under the Class A permit holder comparable out-of-state business for the period of at least 5 years to be verified with the administrator of the board. Applicant's knowledge of the technical ability with the adherence of the safety standard adopted with the board with the prior to the board consideration of other applications for the designated employee with a representative that must demonstrate the safety knowledge and experience by the obtaining through the board examination of the following an employee and accomplishing the endorsement credentials regardless of whether the use of the specific task will initiate to be performed under the permit. Bobtail driver, the bulk plant installation, repair, cylinder, motor fuel dispensing, legal compliance, service technician, residential and commercial, tank install, removal, inspection, application proposed, facilities and equipment. Other factors of the board with the made deemed important with the relevant qualifying of the person liquid petroleum gas dealers. 3. After initial approval of the Class A for the permit application of the board following with the items must be complete with the inspector with approval within 180 days prior to the board with administering the issue and final permit. A bulk storage plan for the use of the permit holder with a minimum amount of the qualifying storage handling of a 30,000 gallons water capacity complying with the code of Alabama 1975 917 107 on the container at least must be for the exclusive use of the applicant and their customers and not be shared by the qualifying storage with another permit holder. All cargo tank delivery vehicles to be used under the business of Aqua. Any cylinder filling with a dispenser plate with the operation of the permit holder, if applicable, the submission to the board administration over the training record, the written experience with each of the employees, specifically to the job takes of the task they will perform. Application employees must obtain the endorsement credentials specifically for the job task for that each will perform and under supervised as detailed with the Alabama Administrative Code 530X2 11 employee competency requirements. For any person may testify with the board hearings on the pending application person, the design to testify shall notify the board administrator of the right and least for the 24 hours prior to the board meeting with which the applicant is to be heard if any of the part of this regulation is declared invalid or unconstitutional. Such declaration shall not affect the part of which remains. 530X213 permit application repealed. 530X14 liquid petroleum gas motor fuel flat rate fees repealed. 530X215 qualification person performing work on liquid petroleum gas systems. In the interest of the safety of the protection of life of the property with which shall be required by any end user of the person over the authorized maintenance of the work or to prepare for the installation adjustment service in liquid petroleum gas applying with the container of the end or the other systems state of Alabama to ensure that any of the person firm of the corporation that they employ with any of the authorized to make such of the repairs have the current with the Class A and C with the permit and issue with the Alabama Liquefied Petroleum Gas Board to perform maintenance and or repairs, installation, adjustment, and the servicing of any liquid petroleum gas applying with the container of the end or systems, and it is unlawful for any of the person firm cooperation to repair, install, with adjust any of the service any of the liquid petroleum gas supply with a component with the container of the end or system in this state unless such of the person has first met all lawful requirements has first obtained the valve of the permit issue for the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. Any of the person reform of the cooperation violation, any of the provision of the regulation upon conviction shall be subject to the penalties prescribed in Code for Alabama the 1975 917 109A. 4. If any of the part of the regulation is declared but invalid, the unconstitutional such the regulation shall not affect the part which remains. 530X216 locomotive gas containers replacement, removal, the repair of the liquid petroleum gas container that released or loaned to the combustion of Class A with the B1 permit able to must remove the from the leaser's property within 90 days after the notification from the leaser of the duly authorized legal representative for that the container of the no longer designed with a desire of the administrator of the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas may issue for the exemption with a written beyond with a 90-day limit for the extenuating circumstance if the Class A with the B permit 1 with the permit holder to disconnect with the and or replace with the liquid petroleum gas container only with another Class A with the B1 permit holder with the following conditions apply with Class 1 and B1 permit holder with the disconnect with the remove of the original tank of the must cap plugging E with the distributor valve with the regulator outlet with the tank being disconnected with Class 1 or B1 permit holder with the disconnect with the move of the original tank must make sure that the disconnect with the tank is left with the upright position substantially level with the end on with a firm masonry foundation. See, no person shall install the repair to pump of the product into the extract product with the liquid petroleum gas container without written authorization of the owner of the tank within direction of the emergency response agency such as the fire of the police department, Leaser cannot grant such authority of the burden of determining the proper ownership of the container is in the entity of the desiring to install the repair and pump product into the extracting product from the liquid petroleum gas container questionably ownership. Liquid petroleum gas container owned by the Class 1A and B1 permanent holders must clearly mark with the property of blank with a telephone number in order for the allegation of the illegal installation, repair, and filling with the extraction of liquid petroleum gas products to be investigated with the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. Any of the repair of the liquid petroleum gas containers must be qualified, properly permitted by the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. 530X217 liquid petroleum gas fee rates of the code for the Alabama 1975-917-106 option for the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board to collect with the liquid petroleum gas fee and with each of the gallon liquid petroleum gas sold with the otherwise exchange. In the state of the Alabama, the board is authorized to lower the rate of the liquid petroleum gas fee by the time any of the board rates of the fee with above the rate of the 1/2 of 1 cent per gallon effectively October 1st, 2018, with the liquid petroleum gas fee that is in 1/2 of the 1% with the 1,500% per gallon, 15 thousandths per gallon. For 30X2 18 precipitancy of the Alabama Plumbers Gas Fitting Examining Board. Individuals who hold the current master gas fitter card for the Alabama Plumbers the Gas Fitter Examining Board, Gas Fitter Board with the may must apply precipitancy from Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board, the Liquid Petroleum Gas Board to obtain the employee competency for the card of the service technician, residential and commercial and legal compliant with the endorsement under the following conditions. Reciprocity shall only fulfill with the written examination requirement of the liquid petroleum gas board outlined with the Alabama Administrative Code 530X2 11 with the employee competent with the requirement to obtain the employee with the competency for the code with the service of the technician, residential and commercial and legal compliance endorsements. Master gas fitters seeking to take advantage of their reciprocity agreement with the must either they're already employed by an existing Class A, B1, C1 permit holder with the Liquid Petroleum Gas Board with the obtainment of the Class C permit with the Liquid Petroleum Gas Board in conjunction with the employee competency for the card. All application requirements of the detail of the Alabama Administrative Code must be completed. 2. Application must provide with a copy of their master gas fitter for the card with the verification that is current and in good standing with the gas fitters board with the Liquid Petroleum Gas Board. Serves their right to refuse reciprocity with any application for the negative disciplinary history is documented by the Gas Fitters Board. Alright, that was December 12th, 15th, 2022. Alabama Liquefied Petroleum Gas Board Administrative Code 530X2 with the rules regulation of the Alabama Liquid Petroleum Gas Board.